Casting and retrieve angles are one of the most important aspects of bass fishing, and it's even more important when throwing these big swim baits. This video demonstrates this perfectly. Now, we didn't get this fish in the boat, but the fact that we got this fish to bite was crazy, because this is on one of the most pressured bodies of water in the country and in one of the most pressured areas. These fish get fished for a lot, just probably 25, 30 plus, maybe even 50 times a day. It's insane how often these fish see a bait. And basically the kind of rundown here. So I was fishing, my buddy pulled up and he was probably 40, 50 feet to my left. We're sitting there talking for a minute, and all of a sudden I look down at my live scope and I notice there's a group of 4 fish that are sitting underneath his boat staring up at his trolling motor. They're probably 10 to 15 foot deep, like right underneath his trolling motor, just staring up at it. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna make a cast of this. So I bomb a cast across his bow, and I let and I'm throwing the Clutch Boss 9 3/4 inch big bait. I've got it weighted down to sink down to about 5 foot above their head. I sink it down and I slowly start working this thing. And those fish are so used to seeing boats, and they're so used to seeing baits drop down right on their head and working always back to the boat. The second this bait came across that trolling motor and away from the boat, so this bait was working away from the boat that they were seeing there, they got super fired up on it and hit it. So angles are critical. These fish are conditioned to seeing baits work certain ways on every piece of cover. If they live in that brush pile is their home. They're used to seeing a worm come in there and kind of come up and over, up and over. And if it's with the wind, they're always used to seeing it come up against the wind. If that brush pile is up against the bank, they're always used to seeing those worms go up there and then drag back out to deeper water. So take extra time, think about how everyone else is fishing for those fish, and then fish for them differently. Because a lot of times those little key details about the direction that bait is working can make fish trigger, as opposed to just sit there and like, wow, man, that's a cool worm. Like, it really, really matters. So like when fishing a glide bait, get as tight to the bank as possible and try to work it uphill, because most of the people are casting 45 degrees at the bank and working it out. So if you tuck tighter and try to make it seem like this bait is working towards the cover or working a different direction than what they're used to seeing, it can really pay off huge dividends. And that works with docks, laydowns, grass lines, like we were talking about riprap, even live scoping. Just be different, and that can yield a lot more bites.